Aloha, Tulsi fans, and free radicals of all kinds. I don't care if you're a libertarian or a Green Party person. And by the way, platform-wise, I think it's really weird that somebody who was a conservative or a quasi, or I would say libertarian-leaning conservative, that I am now aligning a lot with what the Green Party says. I don't see any candidates over there that are going to really make a splash as of yet. I'd love to see somebody jump in like Jesse Ventura, or I'd like to see Tulsi Gabbard defect to the Green Party. And with that little intro, I'm going to do some speculation. Now, when I do speculation on my other channel, people tend to freak out because I'm not reading something from a news source. I'm just telling you what I think from my gut about something. And then, you can have your own opinions. You can say I'm wrong and you can formulate better opinions. I'm not here to... This isn't about me. I know there are a lot of channels. I had this discussion with a friend yesterday, Kelly, who we do little chats. And she's really astute, politically speaking. And we talked a lot about the ego that drives a lot of these progressive independent channels. And my ego is in check because I know my limitations. I know this is, would I like to be a successful channel? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not going to just put out things, clickbait so people will come on over and watch the videos. They'll watch it for 30 seconds and then click out of it. So I'm here. I'm here because of Tulsi Gabbard right now. I'm here because I want the country to get on board with the idea that we have a military-based economy, and we've had it since World War II, essentially. And it's just grown and grown. And this isn't the way you run a country. This is not the way the Founding Fathers wanted it. It's not sustainable. It's horrible for the environment. I mean, we're going around the world blowing crap up, and that's our model for a strong economy. Meanwhile, we've got crumbling infrastructure here at home. Now, you've got Tulsi Gabbard telling the world that she might boycott. Talking about the next debate. Here she is destroying Kamala Harris. One of the greatest moments in a debate, other than maybe Trump's little Marco stuff, which I was talking again with Kelly, and whether you like Trump or not, I can't stand Marco Rubio. He is such, and he's my senator here, one of the two senators I have here in Florida, and he's a do-nothing neocon. I mean, the people who got him in office were the Tea Party people, fiscal conservatism and all this stuff. Marco Rubio would spend your lunch money on building the military. I mean, if you're a little kid, he would take your lunch money and say, no, we need to go to Venezuela now. I mean, this guy is a piece of work, and he's a lousy politician on top of it. So anyway, sorry to go off on the Marco tangent, but I really enjoyed the little Marco stuff. It was funny. Look, you don't have to like Trump. He can be a bully. He can be arrogant. He's all of those things, but it doesn't mean he doesn't get some things right. And when he gets it right, I think you have a moment where both the left and the neo-right, I don't know what you want to call it now, we get together and we finally come to this conclusion that it's the establishment stupid. I mean, that's the way Bill Clinton would have said it. And the more time I spend looking at all this stuff, there's a trend line. That, again, you got like a horseshoe where the left and the right, and what's happening is we're both down here, left and right, and we're kind of agreeing on things like corruption, like maybe there should be a cap on interest rates. I mean, you could go down the line for credit card, people who paying 20-something% interest on a credit card, and all of a sudden, you're going to get a tax from all the neocons. Well, that's socialism. Oh, okay. It's socialism to write a law. It's socialism to write a law. Like the government's coming to your house and they're going to blockade you in, and you're not going to be able to leave until you do the salute and you you know what I mean? And it's so far from the truth. If you tell them you're going to have an economy like Sweden, oh, well, socialism just doesn't work. Yeah, I know it's a hybrid. John Stossel will go and do a video telling you about all the free market things going on in Sweden and tell you and prove it to you that it's not really, it's not what you think. But it is an economy based on laws, based on principles that everybody sits around and votes on and agrees on. So you've got democracy there. So it's freedom. This is the thing that the democratic socialists and those people that are within the United States who are going on that, putting that brand on themselves, they need to do a better job explaining it. And personally, I hate just putting the word socialism anywhere, because it's Donald Trump's battering ram word. It's any conservative who just makes money doing their channel, and as soon as they say, oh, Bernie's a socialist, sounds like Tulsi Gabbard might be a socialist. Really? Have you looked at their platform? They're not going to control your life. They're going to try to rein in these just serial abusers who, through the Reagan model, were supposed to, be generous and share their wealth, and ask the Walton family, ask Jeff Bezos if he'd be willing to share some of that wealth. So anyway, Tulsi Gabbard boycotting the next debate. Maybe she's considering it. Do I think she's serious? Yes, I do. Because she's not about political theater. Although I think what Tulsi has done really well during this campaign is she's exploited the obvious weaknesses of these people that they foist upon us. So in this case, when it was Kamala Harris, this woman was just like, she was like a Hillary, a sitting duck. She had no defense. All she could say is, I'm proud of the work I've been doing. I'm proud of what I've done. And Tulsi's like, well, here's what you've done. And she comes back and people listen to that and go, well, you're proud of locking all these people up? Sounds like not a lot of due process going on. Sounds like you're the law and order person, but you're not really enforcing the important laws. You're not really concerned with public safety. You're concerned with locking up people who, by the way, have the same skin color as you. Okay, that's why you're at like 4 or 5% now in most polls. You're done. And by the way, again, Tom Steyer is the scariest man out there right now, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's October, and you're going to start hearing his name more and more. The media might start to pivot because Elizabeth Warren looks ridiculous against Donald Trump in a general election, and Tom Steyer and Trump would be a cage match, and they'd have their billionaire hedge fund manager who can self-finance and use all of his own corporate cash and go around to all of these same people and demand corporate cash. He could fundraise like Bernie Sanders, except he'd be getting, huge contributions, and he'd exploit all of the built-in corruption that is our political system right now. That guy is a scary dude, and he just has this vendetta. He hates Donald Trump. He's got no policies for America. I don't think he's interested in medical. He's not even interested in talking about real, independent, progressive type ideas. He's not interested. What he's interested in is getting rid of Donald Trump. So you get rid of Trump. By the way, again, the logic here is so you get another neocon who's worse on foreign policy. His name is Mike Pence. You get him in office. That probably stirs up the evangelical base or whatever. Oh, we've got one of our own and we got rid of that uncouth Trump. Because there are a lot of people that like Pence that didn't like Trump. And some of those people who like Trump will hang with Pence because he's, he was loyal and stuck with Trump, and he took the job, which was very risky. So Tulsi Gabbard, maybe she's thinking, I blow this thing up and I say I'm not going. I'm just going to stay right on track with independent media. I'm starting to make a pivot. The pivot begins now, and she can say, look, we had internal polling numbers here and elsewhere that showed that our campaign had kind of peaked within the DNC. We don't think we're going to get proper coverage within the DNC. We don't think even if we were to get the votes and get to the convention that we have any shot of being nominated based on what happened to Bernie Sanders. And all of those arguments would be like an off-ramp for Tulsi Gabbard to then explore an independent candidacy. Also, again, I've said in numerous videos, if Tulsi is true to who she is, she could go around, and I think maybe she sees an opening. Maybe she sees appearances on Joe Rogan. She's 38 years old. And she's thinking to herself, well, I cannot overcome the establishment. She's looking at that. She's saying, I can beat up on Kamala Harris, but I don't know if I can overcome the DNC and the establishment and the media who are all going to talk smack about me if I get anywhere near this nomination. Her commentary about what we're doing in Syria opens her up again for more of this, because I hear all day long about these people who, in Congress, who just can't believe what we're doing. We're allowing something to happen in Syria, and they're upset that Trump isn't sending troops in. And it's like we funded the bad guys in Syria, and if we're not going to do that, then at least President Trump, you need to get into Syria. And again, more casualties, more wasted resources, trillions of dollars, or at least billions of dollars. And for what? For what? And here's the thing. Most people in the media don't care about war. And that's the entertainment culture. We saw what Ellen did with George W. Bush. I mean, she doesn't care about the stuff that she just looks at him as a conservative Republican, and I'm a liberal Democrat from California, and we all should just sit around and sing Kumbaya. You know what? I want to get along with political adversaries. That's good. However, you need to call them out when things get to the point where war crimes are committed. You kind of have to distance yourself. Somebody compared it to the H word. That guy from Germany. I don't want to say it because I think I'll get demonetized, believe it or not. But it's kind of like cozying up to him and saying, we need to really get along with him. We may have had some political differences, but we could, watch a football game together and show the rest of America that the left and the right can come together, and we don't always have to agree. I'm getting to a point in my life where it's code red. It's code red. And here's why it's code red. We've got the climate is heating up, and nobody really has a solution to that. People talk even about the Green New Deal. Is that really going to work? Because we need to get every country on board, which, by the way, Tulsi Gabbard has. This is why Tulsi is the smartest of all the candidates, because she said, if this doesn't work, it's because we're not cooperating with other countries. And those other countries are still going to do their nuclear testing. They're going to do all these things. You think Russia is just going to back down? Think China is just going to back down if we're not actually doing something that's actionable? Do you think they're going to back down from all of this stuff? No. If you just put out there that you're for a Green New Deal, that's BS. You have to have an actionable plan. The Off Fossil Fuels Act, to me, represented that. And it doesn't get any publicity because it doesn't have a catchy little, Green New Deal was great branding. It was great marketing. I would probably eliminate the word green and find another word that better represents what it is. All right, so I've gone off on several tangents here. Tulsi Gabbard, I think, wants to find a way to possibly launch an independent campaign. Okay, this is, again, my speculation on this. Now, I know she said no before, but it's an easy pivot, because all she has to do is run to a microphone and do a press conference and say, look, she can talk about the Google algorithm and what that did to her. She essentially has won 2 Democratic debates already. She can also talk, believe it or not, Tulsi, I would do this, talk about the rise of Tom Steyer and Elizabeth Warren, citing that there's no real groundswell, there's no real organization on the ground that is excited about either of those 2 people. So you've seen the excitement at your campaign rallies. Bernie Sanders has seen it at his. And you think that there's got to be another way around this debacle. I used to say that in almost every video. We've got to find a way around this. And I think Tulsi Gabbard is starting to explore that possibility. And in the process here, I think she's preparing us for that possible move. Now, I could be 100% wrong. She could just be saying to herself, you know what, I don't want to go because the debate is a useless waste of time. I would say this, it was a very prudent thing when you knocked Kamala Harris out, because that's what you did. And a lot of people are hoping you do the same with Elizabeth Warren. And I would do, if you want to end a candidacy, for me, if you want to go to debate and end someone's candidacy, please end Tom Steyer's candidacy. Please go after his billionaire hedge. Do research on that guy. All he's running about is easy. The easy one-liner is hating Donald Trump isn't enough for the citizens of this country. What we need are policies and actions that will make the lives of American citizens better. Done. Okay? Tom Steyer would fold up like a cheap suit, but he does have a ton of money. And this is why you need to get money out of politics. And look, it's his own money, so I don't know how you get his own money out of it. It's still corporate money, and he can self-finance. So this is a scary thing. You'd have to reform the laws. You'd have to get it. Whereas, individual contributions to this campaign have to be limited. They have to be from just like Bernie style and Tulsi style donors who are given like 10, 20, 30 bucks, whatever they're giving. Again, it opens up another conversation about campaign finance reform. So there are ways to kind of go after this and make an example of a guy like Steyer. This is just a scary thing for me, though, to watch this happening. Because I bet you by Christmas, Steyer is still one of the candidates. And he goes to New Hampshire and he gets a good chunk of that. And he's running ads in Boston like you wouldn't believe. He's running ads in all of these early state markets, and he's got an endless supply of cash, and he's got corporate buddies who are going to help him along the way. Corporate buddies who hate what Trump represents, and that's more important, by the way, than helping people. Remember the Donnie Deutsch commentary? Oh, Bernie Sanders, if he gets the nomination, that would be horrible. I might have to consider voting for Trump. Okay, these people, they care more about their 401k, their portfolio. They don't care about you and I. Okay, see this book? This explains it. It's a class issue. Jimmy Dore has a new word for these people. He did it. He used it during the Ellen takedown that he did, which was just spectacular, just wonderful. So I think Tulsi Gabbard she's looking for an off-ramp from this campaign. And I think she's in it for the long haul. She said she was in it until the convention. But, again, she's got data that suggests that maybe There's no path to the nomination based on what she's been experiencing, and she wants to stick with independent media. She can easily say that the whole process is rigged because it is, and everybody knows that it is. And some people might say, well, she's kind of backing down from a fight. But if the fight, the rules say that you have to tie one arm behind your back during the fight, and it's not fair. If Google and the DNC and all these different things are going to work together to do the Stronger Together routine again, which is the Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Tom Steyer, that's all those people. You don't think that people would be excited about Steyer? And again, the media would love it because, again, it's a cage match. It's huge ratings for them. Meanwhile, the American people, again, are left with nothing. They're left with nothing. They're just going to go from one egotistical maniac to another egotistical maniac who they perceive as being a better, more upstanding person. That's what they're going to do. And to me, it's just like a disaster. It's such a big disaster. And if we don't get a handle on this as citizens and start to flex our independent muscles and start to say, you know what, we need a third way. We need to get whoever it is on the ballot. Even if you don't like the Green Party, they should be on the ballot in all 50 states. If you don't like the Libertarian Party, doesn't matter. They should be on the ballot in all 50 states. There should be an independent option, like just a blank line, where if somebody's running as an independent in that state for president, all right, and there should be a way to vote for that person in all 50 states. We need election reform. We need campaign finance reform. And Tulsi Gabbard, I think, realizes that maybe calling attention to the DNC is very effective in maybe mobilizing some people to say, you know what, she's right. I've had enough of this. And if you see a corporatist succeeding, then that will make it even more of a real, I guess, victory for Tulsi. But we shall see. There are a lot of people that do want her to go to this debate. And I think I'm one of them. But I will follow Tulsi. If she goes independent, oh man, this channel, this channel number one, will be 24/7 covering the campaign, all right? Because we know once she drops off the radar of the mainstream media, it's independent types like myself who need to pick her up and carry her along, all right? So I am 100% in if she decides to do that. In fact, I've been talking about this in the early days, and people were like, well, you know, that's never going to work. She can't win. You know what? We need to build a movement. We need to build a real movement around this two-party nightmare. So there you go. That's my video. See y'all soon.